Hi. We're doing a thing. We're doing a super serious meeting. That's what this is. It's super serious and also not late at all. No one knows it's late. Why did I say that? It's fine. We're using new technology, so we don't know how well this will work. It seems to be working. Everyone's in their little box doing the thing.
Yep.
And we are going to just talk about what we want to do with the campaign. We haven't even talked about the campaign. We're going to do
Mm-hmm.
in Elite Dangerous RPG.
That is
Anubis,
Karasamungo.
yeah, Anubis is doing something. He's focused.
I'm bringing up the NiddTuber channel so I can see the chat too, because this particular stream, if you're here and you're watching, and as we go through this, and I can hear myself twice. I need to pause. There we go.
You can hear the stream.
I brought up the stream, and I could hear myself talking, and that was really annoying because who wants to hear that? But but yeah, I was gonna say, like, I'll keep an eye on the chat. I guess everybody can keep an eye on the chat as well during this one, because this is gonna be less intense, right? And if you guys have some suggestions as we're going through this that we think are cool, we might include them. But there are no guarantees on that. It's totally up to the players and us on how we want to actually run this campaign. But yeah, if you guys have some neat ideas, stuff that we didn't think of and we think it's cool, we might include it. So there you go. Back over to you, Boris. I don't know what's happening.
Yeah. Neither.
Why was that so studio based? Back over to you. That's like... back over to you, Boris.
I think we're going to start fairly traditional, right? It's just going to be a 4-person party doing some sci-fi things in a sci-fi universe. Pretending. That's all it is, right? This is just make-believe.
Yeah.
It's make-believe.
But as time goes on, we want to do some things that are a little out of the ordinary. We talked about introducing special guest characters, so people like Mia and Sal can come in, and then eventually we might be able to even have 2 groups operating independently in the same universe. But we don't know about that yet, because it could be throwing Anubis under the bus with the amount of work that would require. But Spidey might be able to host a second group. We don't know. We're just going to at least try to get something going.
Yeah.
If you're watching this back in the YouTube video, you can leave comments, but you will probably get bored, so it's fine if you leave. This is more for us. This one, it's just a meeting. You're taking notes, right, Apple? You're describing.
Oh yeah, completely.
Yeah.
Yep. So far, I've got
totally
Anubis's host. That's it. That's all I've got down. Is that enough?
All right.
Yeah. So what do we do next, Anubis?
Well, so first thing is, I'll give you guys a bit of lore, I guess. Whoa, what's going on?
Spidey's eating beans.
I had a pop-up on my stream chat thing, just overlaid right on top of it. So that was really helpful. Thanks. But yeah, so I'll give you guys a little bit of lore about the universe. So you know a little bit about the Elite Dangerous universe now, right? Because you've played as police officers in the Federation, in the Acellus Primus system. And so you got a little bit of a kind of an idea of how the game works, and space combat and running around on rovers and on planets, and how spacesuits and all that kind of jazz, right? So proper space game, lasers and everything, which is cool. But in the Elite Dangerous universe, there is actually a lot more to it than just that tiny little system that you guys got introduced to. There are 3. I know, right? Crazy. There are 3 major factions in the universe. And so one of the first questions is kind of like, where in the galaxy do you guys actually want to set the campaign, right? What part of the galaxy do you want to be living in? Because that will dramatically affect Charlie 97. Yes, Thargoids. That actually is an option too. So we can talk about that as well, which are Thargoids are aliens in the Elite Dangerous universe. So oh, Vic Smoke. Hey, man, I haven't seen that name in a long time. Hi. Sorry. Anyhow, I'm I'm trying not to get too distracted by the chat. But yeah, so there are three major powers in the Elite Dangerous universe. One of them is the Federation. Okay. The Federation is the kind of like the original galactic power. They're the ones that started. So I'll give you a brief history here. Back in our times, right? So in the Elite Dangerous lore, there was a massive war. So basically what happened is on Earth, going into a little bit of the future, actually pretty close to where we are now, because you got to remember a lot of this lore was written, maybe like 10 or even more years ago. So pretty close to where we are now. The world is kind of like massive corporations take over in a huge way, running a lot of the world. And eventually things start to break down, lots of problems, and there's a World War III. World War III, massive destruction on the planet. And out of the ashes, the only major power that kind of survives out of this is the United States of America. Everybody else is pretty much completely destroyed. Now, for the writers, one thing I will say is that this game and the lore and everything is actually, it's a British game, right? This is created by a company called Frontier. All the lore and everything there comes from the United Kingdom for this game. So they decided. So it wasn't like a bunch of Americans saying, we took over, but it was a bunch of people from the United Kingdom saying that the Americans took over. In the lore, in the game. So the U.S. Basically is the only. It's not that they won. Like World War III is completely destructive and basically destroys everything and the planet as well. The viability of the planet is in massive problems, right? But the only power that has enough influence and has enough of an ability to kind of like continue society is the United States. And so they slowly start to make North America work again, and then other countries around the world basically start joining up. But of course, they don't want to be called states. They don't want it to be called the United States. So they change the name to the Federation of, like, they change it to, it's something like the Federation of States or something like that. And then eventually that's dropped and it's just called the Federation. So there's there's a unified government on Earth called the Federation. And this continues off into a while. And eventually, because Earth is in like a serious problem state, they start building space stations, right, and moving off the planet. And eventually, they go to Mars, and it takes a couple of attempts, but eventually we colonize and we terraform Mars. That becomes a lush green planet world, and it actually starts to become even nicer than Earth, because Earth is still basically a nuclear holocaust disaster. And Mars is actually really nice. So all the rich people and everybody move to Mars and leave Earth behind. And basically the seat of power in the Federation becomes Mars. Like the capital, everything moves over to Mars. So Mars actually in the Elite Dangerous universe is the capital, the home planet of the Federation. And slowly over time, generation ships are built. So sublight technology, right? Generation ships are built when people load onto these things, and then they get sent off into the galaxy to find planets and colonize them. Around this time, we learn about what's called witch space or hyperspace, and small interstellar probes are created that go out and look for planets that are viable. So the probes and like this technology is really expensive and really big and bulky and stuff. So you can't send people, but they can send like small probes and bring back information. And slowly it kind of like goes out into the universe, and we start colonizing planets, and that grows. And then eventually our technology gets better, and we can, travel between planets a little bit faster, but it's still pretty slow going. And eventually the Federation slowly grows and grows and grows. And it comes a point where there's a bunch of people within the Federation that don't like how things are run. And those people say, we are going to get in a bunch of ships, and we're going to fly far, far away, way out of the reach of the Federation, and we're going to start our own thing. We had enough of these Federation people, because you got to think that the Federation is built on a massive capitalistic, capital society, right? So ultimately over time, the like the corporations start to take, get lots and lots of power again, and so it's a very kind of like think of like, like United States with capitalism and democracy, but like on like a massive corporate scale, right, where the corporations really control more than the government does. And so there's a bunch of people the uh within the Federation that don't like this, and then they take off to another side, like far away, like they go like hundreds of light years away from the Federation, and they start up a whole new society there. And the lady that was planning on starting up this utopia of democracy, proper representation, get away from all this capitalist stuff, she starts up this new colony, and there's huge controversy. Nobody really knows what happens, but there's a lot of people that think basically she was murdered by her brother. Her brother takes over, turns it into an empire, patriarchy, basically like the Roman Empire meets the British Empire at its height. Join those two things together. There's a Senate, right? And yeah, it basically turns into a giant thing of that nature, right? So it's a what do they call it? Like a So there's a Senate at the top. There's words for this, and I can't think of it off the top of my head, but there's words for this, where it's like you've got an emperor at the top, you've got a Senate and all of senators, right? And then below those, you've got, actually, I do have notes for this. I have another group that is playing in the empire, so let me bring up my empire notes. It is a government based on the clan system, like ancient Rome. There's lower class and upper class. There is the imperial law that is created and set by the emperor and then enforced by the senators. And then there's a structure that goes like emperor, senators, and then below senators, you got patrons. Below patrons, you got clients. And below clients, you got citizens. And one defining mark in the empire is that you also have slavery. It is legalized and it is a thing in the empire. They don't like to call it slavery. They call it indentured servitude. And it's an honor-based system where people that can't pay their debts, they actually go into a contract with like a client or a patron of theirs, with a term that they will be an indentured servitude to these people until they've paid off their debt. The contract is made, and then after that, their honor is restored and they're sent back out into society as a proper citizen, yada yada yada. And of course, there's massive controversy back and forth. Not controversy, I guess, but massive. The Federation hates the Empire, and the Empire hates the Federation. And the Empire thinks that you guys are the Empire's. The Empire thinks Federation is horrible because they've got all these poor people, and no system to keep them. If they fall into debt and all that kind of stuff. And then the Empire's like, or sorry, the Federation's back at the Empire saying, you guys have slaves and that's horrible and yada yada yada, right? So they both hate each other, and there was a massive war that happened between the two because the Federation was like, no, you can't go off and do your own thing. And then the Empire said, well, come stop us. And so the Federation went to go stop them, and there was a massive war. And eventually, over a long period of time, they managed to push the Federation back, and so now the Empire is a thing, and they're both growing out and out and out and out. Now, about in the Elite Dangerous universe, and the lore is it goes back about 100 years from where you start the game. Another massive superpower starts to slowly rise out of basically because the Empire and the Federation are constantly fighting each other over new territories and all this kind of stuff. And there's a part of space that is constantly under siege by both sides, and they basically get fed up with this and rise up and push them both out. And because of political reasons and honor reasons in the Empire, like these guys are really smart. They figured out how to use each populations against them, right? The Empire is very much about an honor system. Also, the Empire was coming very, very far to try and conquer this area. It was closer to the Federation, and the Federation, though, was like basically it's becoming too costly. They were, like a similar idea of like the Vietnam War, where they basically tried to make it so unpopular within the citizenry that the Federation had to back out. So out of this blooms the Alliance, which is an alliance of independent worlds. So unlike the Federation, which is basically a giant dictatorship, whatever, I don't know, like, but basically it's run at the top, and all of the member worlds within the Federation have to agree to and go with the rules that are laid out by that kind of constitution, if you will, right? Whereas in the Empire, everything is ruled by the Emperor. All the laws come down. Everybody has to follow those things, right? You have like that's just how it works. But in the Alliance, the each world is independent. They run themselves, but they all bind together. So it's kind of like the EU in a sense, right? Like they've got a bunch of independent countries. They all come together for a common purpose. They have a common navy. So if the Empire or the Federation come after them, they can bring out their navy that all the worlds contribute to, try to push them out. But other than that, they have like a bit of doctrine that they, like member worlds should like follow these guidelines, stuff like that. But that's kind of like the main. So I gave you like, I don't know, a couple thousand years of history there. Hopefully pretty quick.
Bloody hell.
Yeah, so I kind of like fire hose that on you. Sorry. But that's the basic makeup of the universe, right? At the beginning of the 31st century, 3300, right?
Should you explain?
You've got these three major superpowers.
This is evolving over time too. So what year do we start with? It's like 3304 or something. So
the official lore, like the video game, officially started in 3300, right? And it is now in the game. It is 3306. Over the course of that period of time, a lot of stuff have happened in game, right? So there's a lot of official lore there, as well as there's books and things that I've read about that are actually considered canon. But this is where kind of like the question about, do you guys like, what part of the galaxy do you want to be a part of? But also, what time period, kind of like between 3300 and 3306, do you want to be in? Because lots of stuff has happened in the world, i.e., aliens, right? Thargoids, discoveries, bunch of different things. So,
should we just be in the Alliance and then cause a Brexit?
Oh,
we'll be Nigel Farage.
Good.
So a Brexit in the Alliance would be, I guess, like you have to pick like one of the worlds in the Alliance and then try and force them to leave.
Could that be the whole campaign? Just this political game the entire time?
Yep, it can totally be that if you want it.
We've done it. Goodbye, everybody. That's the stream. We've decided what we're doing.
That's beautiful. Yep, we could totally do that. So yeah, I'm just scanning the chat there. Hopefully I got that history pretty well. So I actually just recently, it's funny, good timing. I just finished watching. So Drew Wagar is one of the writers that writes one of the official books for the Elite Dangerous universe, and he did a 6 or 7 week tour of the Elite Dangerous lore. So this is all very very heavy in my head right now. I've watched it all slowly over time. So I've kind of got really got this kind of pretty cemented in my head, but hopefully I did a good job of recanting it. But yeah, so let me go back to my notes here for the session 0. So yeah, now that I've dumped a bunch of info on you, what questions do you have at the moment? Space exit. Brexit is space exit.
Nice.
I don't like the idea of being like freedom fighters in the Alliance, but that's just me. Like just helping to help smaller worlds to join the Alliance, basically to push back against both the Empire and whatever, I can't remember what the other group's called.
So we're traveling
the Empire in the Federation.
All the Alliance. We just travel around spreading the good word.
Spreading the good word. Well, so yeah, like obviously the setup of the Alliance is interesting, right? Because all of the worlds in the Federation are all completely self-governed, right? Like there is kind of like an overarching set of guidelines and rules that you should adhere to, and obviously you have to contribute to the Navy and the defense of Alliance worlds. But other than that, you're free to run your country any way you wish. So within the Alliance, there are, democracies, there are feudalistic style governments, there are dictatorships, there's all kinds of things, right? But what happened to Apple? Is he frozen?
What?
I've stopped receiving from you, Apple. I don't know why that is.
Still publishing on my end.
Okay, might be mine. Well, we're talking.
I've tried turning it off and on again. Anyhow, but yeah. So as far as that idea that you're talking about with like the Alliance and pushing back the Empire and the Federation, one possible concept could be that maybe you guys are a part of, let's say, a independent world that wants to that needs to be convinced in some way to join the alliance, and there is incursions happening maybe by the Empire and the Federation to try and take that world for them, right? And you guys are trying to help maybe steer the planet towards the alliance or something of that
Spy
nature, or the
versus
system.
spy.
Spy versus spy. Yeah.
Yeah, like be trying to, like basically like have like a planet that, isn't really a part of any group, and we're like a part of an organization that is trying to convert them to the alliance, while there are, groups from the Empire and the Federation also trying to convert that planet. So that we're fighting out against both sides, or trying to pit both sides against each other as well to try to gain like possession of that planet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, those are definitely some neat ideas. So I'm just gonna go through some of the setting notes that I have here, and let's see if maybe this sparks some more ideas. But yeah, so like area of the galaxy right now, it looks like we're talking about because like you got Federation, we got Empire, we got Alliance, and then of course there's even just independent worlds, people that aren't associated with any of these powers, right? All of those places are settings that you guys could be interested in. Sounds like the Alliance is standing out to you guys a little bit more than anywhere else at the moment, which is cool. Then there's also the idea of like, well, even within, let's say, the Empire, the Federation, or the Alliance, there's the idea of, are you like in more core worlds to that? Is there a giant cack that eats everybody? Is there a border system? So, but yeah, like core systems versus like border space, right? So, like within the Alliance, there will be like systems that are very central to their power base, right? For example, with the Alliance, that's Alioth. That's like the kind of like, I guess what you might consider the capital world, or at least it was the starting place. The Alioth system is the kind of like the birthplace of the Alliance, and then the worlds around them were the original members, the members of the Alliance, and they would be more, they would be stronger, and they would be more kind of like higher populations, higher technology, all that kind of stuff. Whereas maybe if you wanted to be, you want to be more border space on the edges of the Alliance or the edges of one of those systems, and then dealing with problems in more of a like a Wild West style, as opposed to a very solidified
Firefly
central system
in Elite Dangerous.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. We could do like a Firefly-esque type of campaign out on a border system. Yeah, exactly, that kind of stuff. So that's another idea, right? Is like, do you want to be core, or do you want to be on the rim, right? The edge.
It does seem like we
rim.
would get the most variety of different things in the Alliance on the edge. Like they encounter a bunch of different sorts of people in different areas. I don't know, how familiar with the Alliance are you, NiddTubers? Have you done a campaign in that before?
I actually have a group that's in the Alliance right now as well. The only area of space that I currently don't have a group in is the Federation, but I did have a group that ran there. They finished their campaign, and they've moved on to work to be in the Empire now with a new campaign. But yeah, so I've kind of played a little bit in all areas, but yeah, no, I've got lots. It's not. I can figure it out wherever you guys want to go. Now with the border, you also have the like, do you want to be border between, say, like the Alliance and like the Federation or the Empire, or do you want to be like border with the Black, right? Like unsettled space that goes off into the void, right, where nobody lives. That's another option.
Yeah, Spidey's idea was to be kind of resisting and fighting against either the Federation or the Empire, I guess. Right? You were
basically, like I was just thinking that because there should probably be some sort of conflict, and that's an easy one.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, conflict could be at a grand scale. That's another idea, right? Like conflict can definitely be at a grand scale, like between superpowers, but it could even just be like system scale, right? Like you're dealing with just the politics and the conflicts, or maybe rebellion, or insurgency within an existing system as well, right? Like we can keep it small as far as like how much of the universe that we go into, or we can make it galactic in scale, right? So actually that kind of does lead me to my next question, which is like kind of like, what's the focus of the campaign, in the sense of So there are in the Elite Dangerous universe, there are what's called like the three pillars and this is for the game, right? They have three pillars, which is exploration, trade, and combat. But in the role playing game, they've kind of broken that down into four, which is exploration, trade, military, and espionage are kind of like the big kind of like areas of the system that they outline quite a bit. So again, that's another area where you guys can focus like more deeply into, do you want this to be a campaign about exploration? Do you want to go off into the unexplored universe and look for look for alien life, look for unknown things, right? Look for relics of ancient civilizations and that kind of thing. Discover new worlds, bring those discoveries back to the bubble. I should say the bubble is the term for like the inhabited area of the galaxy. Or do you want something more along the lines of so trade, and like, so you guys might be moving goods between systems, and then hell breaks loose or whatever, but like more focused on actual like commodity trading and as kind of like your main professions as the campaign gets started, and then who knows what happens, right? But more of a focus in that case, you'd probably be dealing with lots of different types of systems, moving goods between different areas. You could go down the smuggler route, like you could be much more of a Han Solo style group, right? Or Firefly style group of like actually like sneaking stuff in and taking illegal jobs and all that kind of stuff to move shipments and then protect your cargo, right? Like that kind of a campaign. Sorry, what was that lyric? I missed that.
I said we could be pirates.
We could be Sea of Thieves.
Yeah, we could just play Sea of Thieves.
Yes, you could play Sea of Thieves. Yes, you could play Space of Thieves.
Yeah.
No, you're right, because the opposite side of being a trader would be a pirate, right? It's that's just the other side of the coin there. Yep, totally. Sorry, Spidey, what were you saying?
Like the Guardians of the Galaxy line, which is a little bit of good, or a little bit of good, a little bit of bad, a bit of both kind of thing.
Yeah.
Where like we do things that are morally questionable, but we also kind of do some good things too. I think would be.
Again, that brings us back to like the Firefly style crew, right? Where they take legal jobs, they take illegal jobs, right? And they deal with moral issues. And when all of a sudden they cross a moral line that they don't agree with, they have to find their way back out of that, right? That would be a more trade focused, trade or smuggling or piracy, like that kind of area, right, of gameplay. Next one would be military, right? So maybe you guys are actually a part of the Alliance fleet, right? Or you get and it's much more of a like you show up at your command, the commander gives you a mission and you have to go off and you're supposed to like take care of this insurgency that's happening, or like the Federation is making an incursion into into Alliance space, let's say, against some world, right? And you're sent to try and like push them back. It could be very much like that, part of the the official Alliance military, or you could even just be again, you could be part of like a police force in one of these systems. You could be or you could be more a part of like a special ops group, right? Like even like think like D-boys and stuff like that, right? Like you're part of like a elite special ops force that gets sent in to deal with situations when they crop up and put down rebellions, let's say on a world that's having like something that's been like the Empire, let's say, caused a rebellion to happen on an Alliance world to try and force them to leave the Alliance, right? And you go in there to try and like put that down or something like that, right? And then the last one was espionage. So that one is, I mean, it could obviously be military and focused too, but espionage, I think, is more kind of like corporate, in the sense that like you guys are spies, you work for a company, a massive corporation, you've got all the greatest gear that that they can furnish you with. You're supposed to go in and like steal trade secrets or like find blueprints to some new design, right, for some weapon or from some spaceship, and then steal it and bring it out. So that would be a much more like very sneaky, focused. Lyric might like that. She wanted to be super sneaky in the last one. But yeah, so sneaky. I'm just trying to like, I guess, thread you guys with a bunch of different ways that you can think about all the options that are at your disposal. That's the beauty of a campaign, is that you guys can do whatever you want. But here's some basic general ideas that the game definitely supports. So what do you guys think of all of that? I'll stop talking for a little bit.
Okay.
I think maybe we should just all work in an office That's it.
Yeah, just roll up the
To
most
be-
boring characters ever.
Yeah.
Accountants.
Or just,
Yeah.
just
You're a
recreate
bunch of
The
botnets.
Office in
Oh yeah.
just have like a really awkward encounter every day. You know, I think it'd be brilliant, but that's just me.
Oh, there's the first one in background descriptions. Accountant. Just all be accountants.
Yeah, there you go.
Bunch of accountants. You bunch
The-
of forensic accountants, right? That have to find tax evaders.
Not even that.
That's
I
far
th-
too exciting. At
yeah,
this
I think
point.
just-
we
just
crunch
general-
numbers every day. That's
yeah,
it.
We just
ta-
crunch numbers.
tax accountants.
We come to the session. And it's just,
the-
what do you do today? We're like, oh, we do some accounting, and that's it. And then that's the end of the session. Well, thanks for watching, and then we're off.
I think the conflict should come from people stealing each other's lunch in the break room.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah, I'd kill somebody for that.
Yeah. So just looking at some of the comments in the so yeah, people are smugglers, 3D Sea of Thieves. But here's a good one. If Apple doesn't get lost and end up halfway across the universe immediately after leaving space dock, I will demand a refund.
I saw that. I saw that.
So that was pretty good.
I'll do it. I'll do it.
Yeah. And also they mentioned mercs too. Yeah. So that's totally another option. Is instead of being like an official part of a military, right? You could actually be mercenaries for hire, right? You could be a group, let's say, of well-trained operatives or something of that nature, and the governments and corporations and individuals hire you guys to take care of their problems, right? That's another option.
That sounds good.
Not a bad one either. It fits the kind of morally neutral group idea,
Mhm.
right? Because we have some government
just pay
jobs, or
in.
we can pick up some private jobs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just paid loyalty, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, my camera's having a hard time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Something's going on.
I have no idea why. I'm not doing anything.
Yeah, I'm receiving a massive 0.1 megabits per second from you.
Oh.
Oh, I'm broadcasting 0.1. Oh.
Yeah, you could stop it and start it again like Apple did. That made everything better.
Yeah. Exactly. There's another idea. You guys don't have to play The Office. You could play the IT crowd.
Yeah. Let's do that. Let's do that. I think that would be hilarious. But maybe not.
Yeah, I fear though that I have done the one thing that you shouldn't do, which is overwhelm your players with too many options.
Well, I like the what was it? Like the
I enjoyed that idea. You know that
yeah.
one.
I only gave you like one or two ideas, so yeah, it's
Yeah.
easy.
Either like mercenaries or the other one, like sort of more trading smugglers slash
I
not
do
smuggler
quite
trader.
like the
Firefly
Firefly
Yeah.
Han Solo thing where we
Yeah.
accidentally get roped into something
Yeah.
that we don't
Yeah.
really want to be in, and by the end of it we believe it. That's the
Yeah. That would be cool, actually. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
like you
just-
talking like more the movie, like what happened to them in the movie, kind of with all of that. I don't want to give spoilers, but is that kind of what you're thinking? Getting roped into something that was way bigger than themselves?
I can't remember the end of Firefly now. Really
Oh,
not that long.
okay.
I was
great.
like
It's so good.
starting with Firefly and ending with the end of A New Hope.
Yeah. That's cool though. I like that idea too.
I think that a lot of the conflict, I personally would rather there be a lot of sort of chances for silly improv more
Yeah.
than
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
straight up gun battles every time.
Yeah.
But with plenty of, little action sequences involved.
Right, yeah,
but-
that was actually another one of my questions was, do you want an emphasis on like social interactions, combat, political, like where do you want the focus, the emphasis to be? And then obviously we want to include a little bit of everything, but where,
Yeah.
like what should be the primary overarching kind of like central theme, right?
Yeah, I think I'd like, so if all three of those, what are those diagrams called where you've got 3 points and then you've got
Diagram.
Yeah.
A Venn
Yeah.
diagram?
No,
No,
it's like a
no.
triangle.
It's a triangle and then
Oh,
inside,
triangle.
like with that, how do I explain it? It's not even relevant. Where, you know, like a little bit less of the conflict and a little bit more of the social and a little bit more of the political. Like mostly social, a little bit political, a little bit combat. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Lots of chances to have silly conversations with NPCs and stuff like that, and you know, a chance for a like a standoff every session.
Right. So you want to basically you would love to have the opportunity that not every single situation can only be solved by shooting them in the face, right? You want to be able to actually be able to talk your way out of problems.
Yeah.
You want to be able to talk yourself into problems, but still manage to somehow get out of it without shooting someone in the face. But you end up with like even more things that you have to deal with.
Yeah.
Like that kind of an idea. Like you would like a balance of like, or sorry, you would like a bit of a balance between being able to talk your way out of a problem and then actually have some fun combat. But it sounds like you're more interested in like a higher emphasis on the social side, with like combat being scattered, scattered throughout. Is that a fair assessment, or am I getting that wrong?
This is just me talking, but I think that makes it.
No, I know.
So if it's just constant non-stop action, we'll be desensitized to it, and I think we'll.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
so.
True.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you want them to be
with
big
that.
climactic points where we, but otherwise,
Yeah,
a
for
lot
battles
of
to
it's
be
just
like
gone.
quite important when they happen. Yeah, no,
Right.
that sounds like perfect to me. That's the kind of thing that I was
Yeah,
going to say
think
as well.
It's a radar chart.
Oh, it's a radar chart, apparently, if anyone
That's
wants to
what-
Google it.
Boris was talking about. That's what you mean?
Yeah,
I want to put it over there,
Oh.
but I
no.
no good.
So people can Google
What
it.
is that radar chart? I don't think I've
It's-
ever heard of this thing.
Oh,
This is
weird.
completely unrelated to everything that we need to do. But
This is proof that Boris likes spreadsheets. Even more proof
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
Boris likes spreadsheets.
Yeah.
There.
Do we?
That's
Yes, your camera.
there. There's a radar chart.
Oh.
Awesome. Sounds like I have to do some reading on Wikipedia after this game, so I know what kind of game you want me to run. Yes. So the
is there a
super
chance?
secret. Oh, actually, I just had another idea. Oh my god, I'm gonna give you another idea. I was just thinking like that this radar chart made me think that I could hide clues for you guys to solve a mystery inside of like crazy stuff like this, right? But then that made me think of like movies like National Treasure and Indiana Jones and stuff, where it's like you actually are trying to like uncover a secret, or secret cabal is doing work behind the scenes, and you guys get wind of this, and then you're trying to like take it down and stuff like that. That's just another idea.
A
But
Phantom Menace.
or like find the 5 MacGuffins that let you go to the place or whatever. But yeah, just
I
ideas.
do like MacGuffins.
I'm putting that down in the notes. 5 MacGuffins.
5 MacGuffins.
That's the only thing I've added
Um,
so far, aside from Anubis is host.
You got that wrong. I'm the GM. Or the
Oh,
storyteller.
shit.
Actually, we're probably. I don't think we're allowed to use that M word anymore, right? So we should say the storyteller, or something like that.
What? Wait, what?
Sorry,
Think of
let's
the one
move on.
that's-
I'm sorry I brought that up. Moving on. Yes. So trying to get a little bit of, narrow down the options a bit.
Okay.
Going back to my first question, we were talking about the Federation, the Empire, the Alliance, and just straight up independent worlds. We're thinking Alliance is kind of the area of space that you guys are most interested in. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think so.
Honestly, I have no idea, but we'll go with that.
All right. Anubis,
Vix
the
has
lad
a
of
name
power.
for you. Yeah.
All right. And then
the lad of
so
power.
core systems versus the lad of power. Core systems or border systems. It sounded like you guys are way more interested in kind of like border systems between, say, like the Alliance and one of the other superpowers.
Yeah.
Which would give you, more of that space cowboy style of possible play and falling into who knows what kind of situations. Was that correct?
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right. So I'm gonna highlight those in my notes. And then the focus, we were talking about like exploration, trade, military, espionage. It sounded like, and correct me if I'm wrong, and I think we still had some. This was still an area where you guys were kind of like figuring out where you're really interested. But it sounded like, you know, kind again like we were kind of falling back to that Firefly-esque style of you guys take on missions, you know, based on whatever you can find to make enough money to survive, keep flying type thing, right?
Yeah.
And you know, you run the line of legality, right? You'll take legal stuff, you'll take illegal stuff, and you try and base it on your group's moral compass as to what you're willing to do and what you're not willing to do, and
Yeah.
you know, who knows where that leads you, basically,
Yeah.
right? You could
Mhm.
end up somewhere you never expected to be. Is that accurate?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That sounds good.
Okay. So it's kind of like a trade space cowboy Firefly-esque kind of theme.
Are we just going to be like a ragtag bunch of misfits, like people that couldn't find work anywhere else? And we're just in this ship together, just taking whatever job comes our way.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, it really depends what is your motivations, your character motivations, and that could be fun too. Where like when we get into character creation and your backstory, kind of like, why are you guys, you know, basically not living on some world somewhere, you know, doing the standard everyday thing that everybody else does, right? Why do you, you know, want to do this? It's kind of like you don't want to be locked down in some way, right? You want to like be free and whatever, or I don't know. I'm just like throwing out ideas, but that could be an interesting idea. Like we need to definitely have some kind of a cohesive idea for the group. Like, why do you guys stay together? But also, what led you to this life in the first place? Like, why did you leave behind where you were born and growing up? But then also, it's super important is, why are you guys a group? What holds you together? Because we need that. We need that to be pretty solid. Because I've run into problems in other groups where, you know, they're together because they're the players at the table, right?
Yeah.
Right.
But they all have like these very distinct backgrounds that, as the game progresses, it was like, why are we even working together? And I should be going off and doing this thing, and I should be going off and doing this thing, right? So I want to avoid that kind of problem. So we need to
Yeah.
have some kind of cohesive reason why you guys are together, some common purpose that is more important than your side motivations, which you can still have, because those can be fun as well. Like every once in a while, you know, we'll go do a little side adventure that, you know, Lyric knows somebody that you know, she needs to deal with this problem, and you guys then go to help her, you know, take care of that or whatever, right? But then you come back to the main, you know, the main overriding purpose after that.
All right, so we're all ex-cops who took down a big drug organization.
Washed up cops. Yeah.
Let me guess. One of you is Ed Foster. One of you is Gabriel Baxter. One of you.
Easy character creation. I kind of like the idea of maybe being like anti-corporo, like very against corporate influences. Like we'll
Okay.
take corporate jobs, but we don't want to be like a part of a corporation, kind of, you know, if that makes sense.
Right. You're fine to take their money, but
Yeah.
they're not going to own you.
Exactly.
I'm good with that.
Okay. And maybe there's reasons for that in your guys' backgrounds. Like each of your characters have had maybe some real, like, serious problem that you had to deal with them at some point, right? Which is why you're so against them. Yeah.
Space
So I mean, one of
hippies.
the other questions, you've kind of answered this already, but it was kind of like, do you guys want to be heroes, anti-heroes, criminals, more mundane? And again, it sounds like you're thinking again that, you know, that
Absolutely mundane.
I was worried that I knew that that's what Boris would say. Right.
doing?
I'm trying to open. Speaking
Lyric's
of-
trying to open her character sheet, and she's just in a marketplace
No,
somehow. Well, just download it.
Oh,
Thank you.
Quote, you'll end up somewhere you never expected to be. So you're all going to end up floating down the Nid River.
oh wow. We've done that. We have legitimately floated down the River Nid.
Some of us even fallen into it.
Yeah.
And some of us
We
have
don't-
sadly not been able to capture the video of it.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so I'm kind of getting a sense, I think, of the style of play that you guys are thinking of. So, living in the border worlds between the Alliance and, let's say, the Federation of the Empire, willing to take on jobs from anybody that's willing to give them to you because you need to keep enough money in the coffers to keep your ships flying, and to make sure that you never have to be a lackey to a corporation or beholden to some group, right, in some way or shape or form. You want to be kind of like your own people, making your own rules, which as you kind of like float through the galaxy with your ships. Is that accurate?
Yeah.
I think so. Like basically the reasons why pirates existed in our reality, but without having to resort to active piracy, I guess.
So more like privateers, almost in a way, where it's
Like
kind of
just-
like somewhat sanctioned by the governments, right? But
Just
at
trying
the
to be
same
as free
time,
as
you do what you
possible,
have to
not
do to get the
intimidating.
job done, right? Well, I guess it'd be less privateer-esque because privateers are basically just pirates that were that the government said, yeah, you're fine, we're not going to stop you from doing it because as long as you target the people we don't like, we're cool with it. But yeah, like you guys are, you're not just taking on jobs like go steal stuff from somebody. You'll take on whatever job comes your way. But that doesn't mean you won't take a job to go steal something from somebody if you feel that it doesn't break your moral code, right?
Yep.
Actually, so that's an interesting idea. What is your group's moral code? What are the tenets of your group that these are the lines you won't cross?
Oh Christ. So many lines I won't cross. Trust me. Like, there's
Because if
many
you have a
line
moral
I've
code, right,
crossed.
there
I'm
has
not
to
going
be
back.
yeah.
Yeah, that's something we'll
I'm
figure
not
out as
sure
we
I
go.
have a moral code. I'm not sure.
Well,
it's
you
ever
could be the
existed
Jane of
in
the
me.
group. That's cool.
Yeah, like the idea
I
of
was talking
hacking
about
that
real
out.
life, to be honest with you. Like, there's not many lines I haven't passed at this point, but yeah, sure, we could go with that in game.
I think
Yeah,
if
it's one of those like
it's
figure it out as it comes up.
Yep.
I'm calling him Ith again. It's Babam, isn't it?
Yeah.
He gets mad that I call him Ith, even though his name is Ith. So I think his comment is right. We'll all just stumble through space doing whatever looks shiny without questioning the long-term effects.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah.
Mm.
I haven't...
Yeah.
So yeah, I think the moral code will just be very grey. We'll just do... like, just don't
Yeah.
question things. Just sort of do what looks right at the time.
So your guys' code is don't ask too many questions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then like every once in a while, just like
paid.
one of us just draws a hard line in the sand for almost like a completely arbitrary reason. Just like
Yeah,
we're not crossing this
no
line.
reason. Yeah. And then we think we're morally like just righteous because we
Yep.
did that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful. Okay. Yeah, actually, Tone. What are you guys looking for? More of like an optimistic world, more of a shady world? Are you interested in aspects of horror or, what kind of tone do you want the campaign to follow? Like again, it can be a whole bunch of things, but let's kind of like what is there like something that you would like to explore more than anything else from that perspective? Because the universe of Elite Dangerous obviously has a very kind of like
Like a wide
what's
range.
the right word? Well, it has a wide range too. Yeah, obviously, like where you are in the galaxy and how those areas function. You can have very different kind of tone to those worlds. But at a very high level, the universe is, it's not like a Star Trek world, right? It's not like this overriding idea of optimism and humans, have learned how to get over their problems and work together as a, blah 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 blah, right? It's not. Elite Dangerous is not like that, right? It's very much a humans are still like we are today. We just in space, right?
Yeah.
And we all have our problems, and things can be very dark, and things can be good in some places, but everybody has their demons, and it's a very, like, there's lots of pirates out there that want to steal your stuff. There's lots of, everybody flies ships with weapons because you never know what you're going to run into, right? It's got a bit of a grunge feel to it, like a bit of a what's that called, cyberpunk-esque kind of like kind of feel
a
to it.
realistic look of what it probably would be.
That being said, like, personally, I'd prefer to keep it more like light and fun, but obviously not like still have it be
Gonna have some conflict.
yeah, like it can't just be like a sitcom.
Yeah.
Right, but like not a focus on like getting into really like horrific situations. And, like not
or
a
like
focus
deep
on
politics
on,
or anything
on
like
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I guess Firefly is a good level.
Yeah.
Right. Well, there's some pretty, like, the whole Niska stuff was pretty dark. But
yeah, and like I don't mind going into like darker stuff.
Oh,
like
right, but dabble in it, not live there.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha. Okay.
But if like everyone else would rather go darker, then like I'm fine with it.
then they'll carry you in, kicking and screaming.
Yeah. More.
Well, I think
shrugging
like
and
the
moaning.
horror side of things, I think we'll get our fix of that with what I have in the chamber coming up soon.
Yeah.
So, like the kind of the more, like, I won't say like super bright rainbows and light and humanity's gonna survive and everyone's holding hands singing kumbaya, but like something kind of in between. I think.
Right.
I think we're the group of grays. Just pick everything in between.
Yeah.
Yeah. On a scale of 1 to 10, I always pick 5.
Yep.
It's the opposite of how I create characters.
Eye contact, my god.
It's the opposite of how I create characters in video games. In video games, it's always just max min everything to make the character look as weird as possible.
I do the same thing. Make them look real strange.
All right. So we haven't talked, like we mentioned a little bit, but so time period, right? And the reason time period is important is because up until about 330102-ish, right, there are absolutely nothing in the galaxy except for humans, right? And then after that point, stuff starts happening. Things start being discovered. Alien races start showing up, and serious problems with them start to arise, right? So, and that's definitely something that can totally affect your world, right? So I guess the question is, are you interested in interacting with and we can do campaigns that totally deal with different things, right? But in this campaign, are you interested in dealing with alien life that does appear in the Elite Dangerous galaxy eventually? It does sound like you're less interested in exploration, going out there and finding that stuff. But like, if those things come into the galaxy, are you interested in running across that stuff, or would you rather just leave it as the human intrigue stuff at this point?
I don't mind.
Yeah,
either way.
I'm fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there a good point where I guess our time is going to be passing in real time, isn't it? Like, is there a time period that we could pick where it starts off only human, and as time goes on, there's whispers in the galaxy, and then it slowly turns into more of a problem over time? So
Yep.
I like
There's
that.
a
Yeah, there
change.
definitely
Yeah.
is a period around that I can find that kind of like cusps that.
Yeah,
And then I
that'd be
guess it's
cool.
up to you guys if you want to pursue that kind of stuff or not, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I like the idea of
Yeah,
being like
like
kind of
if things-
skeptical about it, skeptical about
Mm.
about it, and then out of nowhere get slapped in the face with just unrefutable proof of alien existence. I don't have to worry about what we're doing next because of it.
I'm still going to
Yep.
deny their existence, even when I'm looking at them.
Like looking at them square in the eye, just denying that they live.
They can't hurt you if you don't admit they exist.
Yeah, they're not Thargoids, they're fairies.
It's just human in a costume.
At least Peter Pan fairies, right? If you don't believe in them, they die.
Yeah.
Pull off their
Not
masks.
actual,
fairies
not actual
die.
like fairies, because those things are serious business.
Oh yeah.
Like
Hell
fairies, like Feywild fairies, right? Like from
Mm.
Fey or Fair. I think the original name for their world was Fairy, actually. But yeah. Anyhow.
Picture this character trying to rip the mask off, like in Scooby Doo, of like an alien. It was the mayor the whole
Hey,
time.
they just start screaming and you're like gonna rip its head off.
That's awesome. Okay. So I think I have an idea. So I know kind of like where in the galaxy you guys will be, kind of what area of space, what are the the large political forces at work. And then like the microcosm is something that can easily be whatever we want it to be, right? The more you zoom in, the more it's about your guys' interactions. But I think I got a basic idea. I kind of have an idea of the kind of crew and group that you're going to be. I got an idea for the tone, kind of the levels of social and combat. I think we've got a good start. So then next is now that we have a basic idea of all of that, it's starting to actually get into your characters. So
Mhm.
who do you guys want to be as individuals?
No idea.
Now no idea. In this game, obviously, unlike a lot of space games, right, where like you guys are a crew on a single ship, like the Firefly, right? Like there's one ship, everybody's crew on that ship, they do jobs. In this universe, everybody has their own ship, right? It's kind of like a thing. Everybody owns their own thing, own their own ship. So you still work together, you still fly together, right? Just like you did in the police one, where you guys kind of winged up and went off and did things together. So we still have that kind of concept, but yes, that's true. You can multi-crew now as well. One thing I will say is that the video game allows for this idea of multi-crew and stuff, but the RPG was definitely designed and balanced and kind of like architected around the idea that everybody has their own ship, right? So it's definitely not impossible if you guys want to like multi-crew up on a ship, but I'll just have to adjust things to make that work. But
I guess
Yes.
that makes
So-
yeah, I'm fine having each person having a ship. Probably gives more variety with what we could do as well. It does mean that, and this is the one thing that I have no idea about at the moment is what keeps us together, because I was kind of picturing the thing that would keep us together is the ship. We physically have
Right.
nowhere else to go, and none of us can afford any of our own stuff. So we always end up in the same place. But so that's the bit that I'm not sure about, is what keeps us together. Although I think we
Right.
can probably, like, we're a group, we're working towards the same thing, which is just making an entertaining story. Like, I'm pretty sure we could sort of
you
self-regulate
guys can have
that.
some kind of a cause, right? Or some kind of like it doesn't have to be the ship that keeps you together. It could be like an idea that you guys all agree on, or
Mhm.
something that you want to accomplish, something obviously big enough that it would take a campaign to solve this problem, right? As opposed to like a couple sessions in, oh yeah, we've sorted it out, I'm out of here.
Fix the universe, guys. We did it.
Yeah. We did it.
They're not living under the thumb of any corporation kind of thing. Like they're trying to live as free as possible without any like corporate or governmental like screws being put to us, basically. Like just be like our own independent organization, basically.
Yeah.
Of like people just want to remain as like independent as physically possible, but still, making money and getting shit that we need and staying alive, basically.
I
Right.
like money.
Yeah,
I like money. Yeah.
give me the money.
So yeah, so that's kind of like one of the main things that we need. So like, I've got some questions. Like, who are your characters? What are their backgrounds? Why are you working together? What is your common goal? Your common goal needs to be significant, more important than any side goals that you have individually, right? So that's kind of the point in the discussion that we're at right now. So, like, I mean, going back to the Firefly idea, because that keeps coming up in conversation, right? Like thinking about that crew, and yeah, like they were on one ship, but they those people could split ways anytime they ever landed on a planet if they wanted to, right? But they decided to stay together because they knew that they were stronger as a team, and they were, they were able to basically live their own way on that ship, and doing their own thing as opposed to having to get a job for some corporation or whatever, right, in that universe. But I mean, it could be some. I guess it could be something as simple as that. But
yeah,
sorry,
just there are personal relationships as well, like friendships and that kind of thing too.
Yeah, and we could build those in. Like that's the backstory idea, right? So like, do you characters already know each other, and if so, why and how, and how strong are those links, right? Like, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Mir just showed up. Hi, Mir. And he's like, smugglers, ideally for illegal technology.
That's right. That was our discussion the last meeting, the not broadcast one, is that we, because AI is is illegal pretty much everywhere in the ED universe, we were going to be the ones AI inventors.
Yeah.
We're going to smuggle AI around.
Completely.
The backgrounds, and like one of the like combinations that kind of jumped out to me was like a monk, like a religiously like focused monk, but like worships like technology almost. So like you have like monk, engineer, hacker, basically, where like you believe that like the like your deity exists in code. Could be fun.
I see your comment, Elemental Blaze, and I know the history of that. Nobody else will, but I appreciate it. So I'm gonna tip my fake hat to you, and move on. That's something that happened in one of my ED streams a long time ago, or like he told us about it a long time ago. Anyhow, but yeah, actually, his idea of like bounty hunters, that's something that we didn't even talk about either, right? That's another. I guess it's kind of like mercenaries, right? In a way.
I guess we could end up like taking that sort of job, and hopefully it going very badly.
Yep.
Oh, I can make that happen. Don't worry.
Yeah. So
My ass cheeks no.
See,
that's beautiful.
My whole history with like tabletop roleplay games is that one adventure that we did, The Worst Intentions.
Yep.
I did find like one little bit of feedback with that one. I did find it to be a bit. Everything went too well, which I guess is the point of the adventure. You're progressing through the story. But for the campaign, I would be fine with things going absolutely so horribly wrong that we have to fly as far away from it as possible and just start our lives again.
Yeah. So we did have some ideas that would have done that kind of thing, but I tried to push them down for the sake of the adventure, getting through the adventure.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that one was definitely like that was an adventure that the idea behind it was it was designed to show you all the different pieces of the RPG, right? How it works, and give you guys a little sample of space combat, of vehicle combat, of personal combat, of like a story, of some kind of progression, going to different places in the galaxy. That was how it was designed, right? So it was to kind of like give you a bit of a smattering of this is what's possible in this game, and then then do your own thing. But it's good to know that you're fine with me throwing absolutely nutsoy stuff at you.
Oh, hell yeah.
But yes, so coming back to your characters and your reason for being together, there was actually one comment that I thought was interesting, which was you are all ex-crooked cops that have too much dirt on each other to let each other out of your sight for too long. So the only reason you stay together is because the other guy will turn you in for the bounty that's on their head if you guys don't continue to work together and make enough money.
So we really just hate each other desperately, but we have to work together. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Spies from different corporations that have like corporate dirt on each other.
Yep. Yeah, it's kind of like again going back to Firefly. That's definitely seems to be our trend here. But there was that scene right with Malcolm Reynolds and Jane where he takes the job to turn people in, right? And there's a big conversation that happens back and forth between them. And at one point he's like, "It's like what happened? Jane, what happens the day that the money is too good to pass up?" Right? And he's like, "Well, won't that'll be an interesting day, won't it?" Right? It's kind of like, yeah.
Should we just do Firefly?
Just play Firefly. Yeah.
Firefly.
I feel like that would suit you, Anubis. I feel like you're a big fan, so you've got all the knowledge. Done.
Yeah. Well, we're playing in the Elite Dangerous universe, but yeah, I can totally give you guys set you guys up, and it sounds like we are kind of like you guys are going to be a crew of people that work together because you don't want to be under the boot of a corporation or be locked down to a single planet or a single system, right? You like being able to go where you please and do what you want and make enough money to be comfortable in life, and you've, let's say, found each other over the course of the years, and you work well together. You manage as a group. You've managed to keep this dream alive of living on your own terms. And breaking the group up means that you go back to kind of the lives that you had before, and that's something that you don't want to do, right? You want to, that you're stronger. You're capable of having this kind of life because you're together, and you remember what life was like before you found each other. Right, kind of a thing. So that's kind of like maybe that's
comedy?
Something
Me cute.
I don't know. I'm just throwing stuff out there.
I'm sorry. Your description was very good. I was just being a dig.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Well, maybe let's start working on your characters, and then
since we're doing a
maybe
shift,
more ideas will pop up. Like it's how you know each other and all that kind of stuff.
Since we're doing the shift to the characters, do we want to take... How long do we want to go today? Because we've got another hour-ish left of our normal time. So do you want to take a break now, and then we'll try and wrap the characters up in an hour?
Yep. Well, we did start an hour late too.
Yeah.
No, we started at normal
but
time.
Yeah, we started at the right time. I don't know what you're talking about.
That was our normal super serious meeting time.
That was that's right. It's normal super serious meeting time. But yeah, so we'll see how far we can get with character creation when we come back from our break. If it seems like it's still going to be a very long process to finish off, then maybe we might just wrap it up and do the rest of it off camera. But I think I've got a basic idea of kind of the gameplay that you guys are interested in. So we'll take a break, and then we'll come back and we'll start going through character creation for your guys' characters and see if more story comes out of that about how you know each other and why you're together as a group, and wrap up around an hour after that. Make sense?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So Boris, you're in control.
Yeah, I've got a break thing. So I go to the break. There, they can still hear us. I guess I should find... I'll mute... No, I'll mute it. So, yeah, we're going on a break. I'm going to try and find some music to put on. And we're back. Sorry that took so long. It's because of hot dogs.
Yeah. Where's Apple?
Yeah, what happened with Apple?
Dogs?
Yeah.
My camera has just died. I'm just putting in a new battery.
Oh,
Apple,
that's good timing.
Good timing. Good timing.
There's 2 batteries in there, and somehow they're both dead.
Perfect.
All right, I've got the character sheet up this time, so we can go through some character sheets. Sorry, everyone, that took so long. I hope that not everyone is gone. What's next? Sorry, Noobers, you're in charge of this.
All right, no worries. So we're gonna go through this sheet, and then as we talk about this stuff and pick your backgrounds and things, this might spur some ideas as far as your characters, who they are, why they're with each other, all that jazz. So we'll see. First thing you do is in the top right-hand corner where it says rank. You just scrolled past it.
Rank.
Top right-hand corner. See rank? You get to type in there harmless.
Womp womp.
So yeah, level 1 in this game is called harmless, and then when you level up to level 2, it's called mostly harmless. And I'm sure a lot of people know what that reference is for, and that's literally in the video game too. It's harmless, mostly harmless, then novice, and then it goes on from there.
So we got 0 rank points?
You've got 0 rank points at this point in time, yes. But yes, so you are harmless. And the next thing we do is we will fill in your starting skills. So go down, if you scroll down to the skills, there's 5 different categories: personal combat, intelligence, social skills, vehicle skills, espionage. In the score columns, so beside like dodge and heavy weapons and all of those, in the score column, you get to do the beautiful thing of data entry. I'm sure Boris will love this. You need to put a 10 in every one of those score boxes.
Whoops. Immediately put 20.
Immediately put 20. You're finding ways to make data entry comedic. I like it.
So like this
but yes, you put 10 in all of those boxes. Yep, every single one. So most of the characters start at a score of 10 for all skills. And then, like, you will be during character creation, you're going to be able to give more like increases to those scores, which will then ultimately be calculated into your bonuses. And then that's what we use for those when you guys. So, like, remember when you were rolling dice for, like, if you're trying to make a dodge, right? That's where this is how your scores are calculated, how you get your bonuses for those rolls. So everybody starts with a score of 10 in all of your skills. And then the next thing we need to do is choose your backgrounds. So this is where I know none of you, I think, Spidey, you probably have the book up there. I think in the share folder that I sent you guys way back, there was a copy of the book. But basically what we'll go through here is your backgrounds. If I pull it up in my version, and yeah, this is one of those things where we're not sure if we're allowed to actually show the book on the stream.
Legal Schmiegel.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a whole bunch of backgrounds, and they all give you different bonuses to your scores. We've got things. So here I'll start reading off some of the backgrounds for you guys, and then if you hear one that you think sounds cool, then I'll stop, and then we'll go into more details about it. So alphabetically. Actually, the other thing we can do if you want, instead of reading them all out, we could just have your bird tell us what you want. Or you guys can actually roll some dice, and we can do this randomly.
That's actually what I'm personally doing right now.
And then you have to figure out why this backstory makes sense for you. Oh, there's 2 Borises. So did you get that, Boris?
No.
It's all up to you now.
All right, so I've got to roll. What die? What are we rolling?
So do you have D10s? You need 2 D10s.
Well, I've got 1.
Oh no.
Okay, well, no, that's fine. That's fine. What we'll do is roll 1 D10, and we'll roll it twice. Yeah, and we'll say the first roll is the percentile, and the second roll is the individual. So roll the first die. So we'll start with you. Roll a die.
5.
What did you get? 5. So that's 50. Now roll again. Yep. Roll again.
8.
What do you get? So you got 58. So 58 is you are Navy trained.
What?
You don't like that?
I don't think I like this method of picking backgrounds.
You know, All right, well, we can throw that out and you can roll again. Or I can just like give you guys I wonder if I can just give you guys a list here. You can just pick one you like.
And everyone gets pilot, right? So you get 3 and then pilot.
You get to pick 4 and you get pilot, right? I think is that how that works? Let me see here. Select your backgrounds. Each one will increase your skill and possibly gain you an enhancement. In addition, so in addition to your 4 background choices, you get trained pilot for free. So you get 4 backgrounds and trained pilot for free. Some of the background slots take more than 2, like one. Some of them cost 2 slots, right? So here, I'm gonna just go and make a quick screeny shot of the background. Like this is the rolling chart, but it gives you the names of all the backgrounds, which then you guys can look at so that you can kind of like, peruse through. And if you have one that you want me to read you out what it means, just let me know and I will do so. So I'm going to throw this into our... There. Can you click on that? And can you read that? Is that readable to you?
So
yeah,
I believe I have
cheerleader.
The best list. Yeah, so okay, so we're gonna have 2 cheerleaders because I got as follows: scout leader, hacker, mercenary, and cheerleader.
What a good combination.
I have no idea what I'm gonna do with this.
Mercenary, was mercenary 2 slots though, or no?
Yep, it's 4 total, right?
Mercenary is 2 slots, so then you only have 2 left.
No, I have none left. Scout leader, hacker, mercenary, which is 2, and then cheerleader.
Yep. No, but that's 5. You just have 5 slots there.
Did I have 4?
So say it again. Pilot. You have what?
So
say it again.
Scout leader.
Scout leader. That's 1 slot.
Hacker. 2.
That's 2 slots.
Mercenary.
That's 2 slots. Okay. So that's 4. That takes 4 right there.
I got it.
You see how that works?
Hello, sorry, I'm back.
Would you like to see some hot dogs?
Have an apple.
Apple?
What?
Would you like to see a delicious hot dog?
I finished my hot dog already.
Oh, you don't? Oh, yeah, I do want to see a hot dog.
It's half
your single hot dog?
What the hell?
Half a hot
that
dog.
brioche bun looks so good.
Yeah. Brioche bun is the best thing.
Fair. That is not fair.
All right.
And it's like
so which one did you drop there, Spidey?
Cheerleader. Because it was the last one that I rolled anyway.
Okay. It was the last one you rolled. So you are a scout leader, and then you are
hacker,
what? Leader. A scout leader, hacker, mercenary.
Mercenary.
Beautiful.
Well, Boy Scouts of America is always be prepared, so
there you go.
Prepare for hacking.
So, Larry, you're looking through the list and seeing if there's something in there that you like.
Do we choose?
Treasure hunter.
I don't quite know what's going on here. Do we just choose these?
These are, you choose from this list, or you can roll. So you see those numbers beside it. If you roll a D100, which is basically just 2D10, you pick one which is the 10s and one which is the 1s, and you can roll on the table randomly, which is what Spidey did. Or you can just look through the list and anything on there that you think sounds interesting that you would like. These are basically like careers or hobbies or whatever that you've had in your past up until this point, which is going to give you all the skills that you have to accomplish tasks going forward in the game, right?
Yeah.
If that makes sense to you. Some of them are going to be much more combat focused. Some of them are going to be much more social focused, right? Some of them will be much more espionage focused, things of that nature. But yeah, so based on this list, if there's anything that jumps out at you as you think you would like me to give you the blurb of text that explains what it is and kind of how it adjusts you, or if you if you're looking for, so go ahead.
I think instead of rolling or you explaining them, we should just have to pick them on face value, like just their name.
I'm going to be a petty criminal police officer.
I don't know where I find this, but I feel like I'm quite far behind because I missed quite a bit.
On the chat, if you go into the roleplay chat, there's an image in there for all of the different skills.
Ah, okay. I haven't done anything to my character sheet yet. Should I have done things? Should I?
Oh yeah. So for you, if you go back, all you need to do is in the top right-hand corner, you see a little box that says rank.
I do.
Type harmless in there.
Okay.
And then if you scroll down where you see all of the different skill groupings, there's 5 different skill groupings, and in each of those skill groupings you see a column that says score.
Oh yeah.
Right, there's like espionage and social and all like different groups, right? In those is you see the column that says score. In each of those, put in 10 in every single one of those boxes. So like beside dodge, beside repair, beside cyber, beside all of them. Put 10 in all of them.
Everything. Okay.
Every single score box, not the bonus, but every single score box.
Score. Yeah.
Yeah. Put 10 in all of those. And then you get to pick your backgrounds, and that'll increase your score from 10 in a bunch of them. Okay.
Oh gosh.
All right. So Lyric, based on just the names, which ones seem the greatest to you?
Okay, so far I've written down treasure hunter, criminal family.
Mm-hmm.
That's as far as I've gotten.
That's pretty good. I like that already.
And I'm trying to pick ones that seem to sort of fit with that, but I'm not sure.
That vibe of like somebody who was out looking for riches.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
All right. What's tickling your fancy there, Boris?
When I rolled, so we've got to pick 4, right?
You get total of 4 slots, right? So some of them say that they take 2 choices, so you get 4 slots. But if it says 2 choices, that takes 2 of those slots, right?
Oh, okay.
So you either get 2 with 2 slots, or you get 3 where 1's a 2 slotter, or you get 4 where 1 slotters. If that makes sense.
Yeah. So that means I'm a wise guy, community youth worker who's also a police officer.
Wow.
That's what you rolled?
Yeah.
So yeah, you can totally stick with that if you like, or you can custom pick, change things out. That's all like, because this is, again, I want to make sure that you guys enjoy the characters that you're playing, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, if you're current, so I know we were talking about how you guys, don't necessarily want to handle all of your problems with guns. You want to actually be able to talk your way out of problems or create new problems with your talking. But obviously, if you want to have some decent social skills, then you're going to want to pick some backgrounds that give you a bit of a buff in, things like bargain and bluff and charm and diplomacy, insight, stuff like that, right? And of course, those names don't you might be able to figure it out by the names, but I can kind of give you just some ideas here. So the accountant gives you a bit of bluff. What
does wise guy mean?
A wise.
Well, here, I'll read you a wise guy. So it's kind of like you work for the mob kind of thing, right? You're like an enforcer of the mob. Is kind of the idea there. So yeah, here's the description. So every criminal organization needs a fixer, somebody who can cope with any situation the gang can get themselves into, whether it's combat, disposing of dead bodies, or saving the life of a dying drug addict. The sheer versatility of the wise guy is a wonder to the common thug who can only dream of receiving the same kind of respect. So obviously that one's going to be, it's going to give you a lot of combat stuff, right? But it's also going to give you a bit of streetwise and things like that. So like knowing how to kind of like suss out the black market and the underbelly of societies.
Yeah.
So should we be trying to work together a little bit to have a good,
have a mix, balanced group?
Because it seems like if we were working together, it would probably be because
we work well together.
Yeah. What does self-taught entail?
All right. So self-taught, that one gives you a few extra choices. So Self-taught is you are a highly disciplined person and have taught yourself the skills you need through sheer perseverance. You may not have as many skills as other people, but you're much more focused. So it lets you pick any 2 skills and increase them by 10. So you can custom choose which ones you want and increase them by 10. But you also get a free enhancement, which you can choose from the enhancements tables. And enhancements are those things like ambidextrous, right? So you can reduce your negative to shooting with both hands. You awareness, which is you rely on pure instinct and react quickly to danger, so you get a bonus to your perception and your tactics. Confident, which means that you don't suffer any penalties when you're wearing clothing or gear that causes you to suffer social penalties. Hard to kill, which gives you increased endurance, I think. No, it makes you so that you don't die as fast. Quick runner, which allows you to move faster. Strong, which gives you more endurance. Tough, which gives you more endurance. And strong, which gives you more like physical strength that you can inflict damage on people. There's also natural genius, which lets you increase your skill cap even higher than normal. And cybernetic affinity, which I don't know if anybody wants to go cyborg, but that would be the one for cyborg. And then stuff like that. So that's what self-taught does.
Okay. Does someone in the group want to be a freedom fighter? So that way we've got someone who is constantly trying to drag us into those sorts of things. Yeah. Because we were talking, Spidey was talking at the start about how we're on the sort of edge of the alliance. May not necessarily like the other side too much. Maybe if someone's a freedom fighter, that gives us someone who's pulling us into those worlds that others might not have any interest in. If no one else is going to be, then I will.
I was going to be doing swapping the scout leader for anarchist.
So we got a freedom fighter and an anarchist on the crew. That could be a fun combo.
I actually don't mind the scout leader. It's very well because right now my character is very kind of duality of nature and technology. Because I'm like a scout leader hacker.
Yeah.
Oh, you want me to? I'll turn yours off.
Oh, I can just move.
Okay.
Oh, we got another dead camera?
No, I've switched that off. I needed to get up for a second.
I see. Okay.
And I'm wearing pajama pants, so I didn't want everyone to see them.
Okay. Right, so I'm not sure. I could use any of these, really.
So I'll throw out some, cause if you guys want some that will increase your social skills, I'll throw out some examples. So there's one here, which this might be a fun one for Boris. It's what's called a lave radio host. Now there's some lore to that, but basically what that means is basically you are like a radio host so in your past you were actually like a disc jockey radio host, like one of those morning show guys.
Yeah.
Right. But so that gives you like some bluff, some charm, and some insight. So if you're looking for some social skills, that one has a lot of that, and that could be a fun background.
Oh, it's a cat and a very loud car. Why does every car that's around here has to be so loud?
Yeah. Can I read you mine and you tell me if it's a combination that will work, seeing as I know nothing about each thing?
Yep.
Okay, so I've got treasure hunter, criminal family, secondhand spaceship dealer, and self-taught. Because I don't know which ones are like social and which ones are
right. So let me just go. I'm gonna go treasure hunter.
Because criminal family increases your bluff and charm, which is good. Bluff, charm, gambling, security, and stealth is criminal family. So that's a very social one.
Yeah.
What was it? Criminal family or treasure hunter?
Yeah. What? Secondhand spaceship dealer.
Oh,
what does that one do?
Yeah, so treasure hunter it gives you fighting, kinetic weapons, navigation, planetary knowledge, and vehicle piloting. Yeah, so that gives you a bit of a mix there, which is
Yeah.
There's not social skills in that one, but it does give you a nice kind of like mix across the other ones.
Yeah.
And then secondhand spaceship dealer is bargaining, planetary knowledge, repair, and trading. So I think you're bargaining.
Yeah. Okay.
That would increase your bargaining, yeah.
Yeah. All right, I'm happy with this.
So you have bargaining, bluff, and charm increased. That would be good.
Oh, yeah, it's not too bad.
Yeah.
So right now I have a bonus to computer, tactics, charm. Not a huge bonus in charm, but a little bonus in charm. Survival, security, athletics, and navigating. It's not too bad.
So I'm going to be a radio host, apparently. Maybe I can.
If you want, I just I made that an option.
I had already looked at that. I thought about being a freedom fighting radio host who got kicked off the air for saying what he believes.
Yeah,
yeah, you're basically Robin Williams' character from Good Morning Vietnam.
Yeah.
I've not seen it, but I will believe you.
Oh, okay, right. I should have known better than to make a reference with Boris.
I'm really disappointed you haven't seen that movie.
I used to have it on DVD.
All right, so you're going. So far, what have you got, Boris? You've got freedom fighter and radio host.
Should someone be good with like a mechanic sort of thing? Someone who can repair the ships
would be,
when we crash them?
That would be a repair skill. So let me see here. What's repair?
I think I have a little bit of repair. No, I don't. I lied.
So there is an engineer that gives you a 20, like a bonus of 22 engineering. So that's something that somebody could pick.
Okay.
Well, there's one just called engineer, I think, isn't there?
Yeah, cyber, computer, and repair.
So border world, borderland homeworld gives you a little bit of a bonus to repair. Docking bay operative gives you a little bit of repair. Then the engineer gives you a bigger bonus to repair. The mining engineer gives you a little bit of repair. The Navy train gives you a good bump to it.
Would someone who is on... So, what does freedom fighter mean? Not from like what stats it gives, but would a freedom fighter be fighting for the Alliance? Or for an independent?
A freedom fighter could be fighting for anybody that's trying to get their own independence, right? And the Alliance definitely stands for self-rule, but under a common banner of the Alliance to help protect all of the self-rule systems from, the Empire. Basically, they're about just making sure that the Empire and the Federation don't mess with the people within their, consortium, right? But yeah, as far as like who is in, like what are those systems and who are they ruled by and what is their form of government, that's totally up to their own people. But yeah, so a freedom fighter could definitely be trying to maybe release somebody from Federation or Empire, letting them come into that, or even just independent systems, stuff like that.
Okay. And would it make sense that a freedom fighter would be a borderland homeworld sort of thing?
Makes a lot of sense, actually. Yeah, like you grew up on grew up on a border world. That world was, say, threatened by incursions by, let's say, like the Empire, and you rose up to make sure that they didn't take over, right? Something like that.
I think I want my background to be that my borderland homeworld was taken over, and that's why I was kicked off the air for saying
because now you're Now you're saying things. Yeah. There you go. And maybe that's one of the reasons too why you have a more of a positive outlook on the Alliance, because they don't do that kind of stuff, right? Whereas the Empire, they just take, and then now you are ruled by them.
This is a far more political character than I was thinking of playing, but I reckon I could get some good Alex Jones style rants going.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
I like it. Yeah, put down by the man. All right. So do you have 3 now? Is that what how many have you picked?
Yeah, there's 3.
And they're all worth 1 each? None of them were 2 choices?
Yeah, they're all 1 each. I'm going to try and pick something that might actually be useful as well.
So yeah, what
do I have to write these in?
Skills are you...
Yeah.
Yeah.
You should be writing them down.
All right, I'll go back.
Yeah, if you want, you can flip back to the sheet so people can see what you're doing. There you go. Yeah, up in the backgrounds at the top there. Yeah, you write in your backgrounds. And to give you a little bit of background on Lave Radio Host, so the creators of this game were also friends with, obviously they played Elite Dangerous, and they're friends with a lot of people in Elite Dangerous. And there's actually a podcast called Lave Radio, and they do a radio show from within the Elite Dangerous universe, right?
Yeah.
Every other week or every week or something like that on Twitch. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. A lot of goofy guys, and so the writers of the game actually wrote that, gave them a honorable mention in the game. So that was fun.
That's cool. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Is it alright to make mine? I mean, it doesn't really matter, but rather than be that particular station, I guess. Does that mean just generic radio host, or does that come with any specific lore behind it being from that?
No. They call it Lave Radio Host, but you don't have to be from that particular organization. You can be wherever you want. Yeah.
It was just a shout out thing. It wasn't.
Yeah, it's just an homage to that group. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. You can be whatever you want it to be. Yeah. So you got 3 out of 4. The last one in the very last box there, you're just going to put in I think it's pilot trained, or trained pilot. It doesn't matter. Otherwise, I'll know what it is. But yeah, so
pilot trained.
Pilot trained is what it's called.
Oh,
the opposite of what you wrote. Pilot trained, and that's the one that everybody gets for free. But yeah, so you just need to pick one more.
Yeah.
How you doing, Apple? How you doing? Huh? How you doing, Apple? Huh?
I'm pretty good.
Apple, huh?
I'm pretty good. Feel a bit pressured now. I'm doing okay. I'm looking through this. I'm feeling like a mobster feel. I want to go wise guy. I think ex mobster. Nice. I like the feel of. But I don't know where to go aside from wise guy right now.
Will you be able to handle yourself so that we have a fighter on the team?
Yeah, so wise guy will give you bonuses in things like heavy weapons, kinetic weapons, melee weapons. So it also gives you dodge. It gives you some gambling skill. It gives you some medicine skill, right? As well as some tactics and some vehicle weapons. So, yeah. So that would give somebody a little bit of a boost in medicine.
Ex-mobster feel. I just don't know if I should be doubling up on some of these, because I know somebody else went with crime family. I don't know if that's something I should avoid and go elsewhere, or what would you suggest?
Well, I mean, as far as skill distribution is concerned, if you guys are looking to augment each other, then we can see where everything lies, as we look at the enhancements. But as far as story wise and background is concerned, if somebody so let's say Boris's character is a freedom fighter and you were mobster, right?
Mhm.
You guys could have actually known each other in your past, let's say, right? And
Okay.
the freedom fighter, maybe like actually you as the mobster were like giving information to the radio host who was like broadcasting that all over the waves, like stuff like we can figure out all different ways of you guys knowing each other or interacting, right?
Yeah.
I just made that up on the spot, but yeah.
There's Petty Criminal 2, Apple.
Yeah,
yeah.
there's Petty Criminal if you
feels like it feels under. If I'm going for like a big time,
yeah,
you don't want to be
mafia
shoplifting.
big time criminal.
Yeah. Maybe Born on the Streets. Has anyone grabbed that? Like, I thought maybe like if he's gruff and kind of starts on the streets, and that's how he kind of got into it, then maybe that would work. Are those benefits that we could use right now?
Born on the Street. Let's see here.
It's also Trucker too.
Oh yeah.
It's like Trucker's like
I was
like
looking at Trucker, so
like
yeah, like the front job.
Yeah. Trading, vehicle piloting, vehicle weapons, and you get enhancement tough.
Yeah.
Which makes you more durable.
Yeah, Born on the Streets gives you some stealth, some streetwise, and it gives you the enhancement tough, which gives you some more endurance. So that you make your butt cheeks stronger.
Yeah, I need that. Right, so I think I'll go wise guy. I'll go Born on the Streets, and then I'll have some kind of front job. Does anyone else want to be the mechanic before I just grab something like that, or engineer?
Yeah, go ahead.
Lyric, I see your mouth moving, but I can't hear you.
That's because we were talking to each other.
Sorry.
We were sorting something.
Oh! Sorry, I thought there was a technical problem. My bad.
Or do you want to go minor politician?
Oh, yeah, I could to get involved in some
Yeah.
politics.
I was kind of thinking of maybe being a slightly... I guess you could be a corrupt minor politician, and that's why we communicate.
yeah, that'll work.
Trying to take down the organization from within.
I'm pretty sure minor politician, I believe, gives you quite a few social skills as well.
Bargaining, culture, law, diplomacy,
I guess
perception, and tactics.
I'll go for those three then. I'll go wise guy, Born on the Streets, and minor politician, because wise guy's for 2, right? So.
Yep, and then you also get pilot trained, obviously.
Yeah.
All right, so we've got your backgrounds. I think Boris is still picking his final. And how are you doing, Lyric?
I picked all mine.
What did you end up with?
She's doing grocery shopping.
No. Yeah, so I had treasure hunter, criminal family, secondhand, spaceship dealer, and self-taught. But if Apple wanted to be more... Sorry, I've got cat hair just floating around my face. Wanted to be more of the criminal guy, I'm happy to change my criminal family to something like... I've put the things away. Like just something else, something to...
Yeah, and I mean, again, unless we're worried about actual skills, but like as far as like those type of overlaps are actually really good ways that your characters would actually know each other, right? Like if you had a criminal family and Apple was a wise guy, maybe he was an enforcer for your family.
Yeah, that could work. There we go.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah, that works.
So at the moment we don't have any like sort of healer person, do we?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was kind of looking at that because I'm scout leader, but I'm on the fence about that because I just rolled that randomly, right?
Yeah.
Because it doesn't give me like anything too crazy.
I believe there actually is a doctor background.
There is. So I was kind of looking at that because I might do that instead of scout leader. Because I don't mind the hacker because we need someone that's a little more computer oriented. So I think I might go doctor.
So you hack computers and bodies.
Yeah,
that's right. Because cyber is much more focused on like cybernetics and robots and drones and stuff like that, right? Whereas computer would be actually like hacking computer systems, and then security is like knowing how surveillance systems are set up and how to like bypass them, right? It's kind of like those are the 3 different skills and how they kind of interrelate with each other.
Cool. So I'll be more of like a utility character, the guy that's kind of in the middle or the back, that kind of runs in after and does all the smart guy stuff.
There you go.
Oh, you know what? I have a perfect idea. So like so trained doctor, but is no longer like a practicing physician because
struck off.
Yeah, basically. Well, I was thinking like it wasn't like it was like a malpractice thing, but it didn't have to do with how he performed his job. It was more so who he performed his job to, and he did some patching up like guys that got shot and stuff in like conflicts. I think he's got the mob.
He patched up a bunch of freedom fighters that were fighting for the wrong side.
Exactly, and then was blackballed.
And when they caught you, that's what led them to this freedom fighter that happened to be a radio host. So they caught him too. And got him off the air.
Does that mean we've got to kind of maybe... Yeah. Does that mean we've got a kind of maybe Empire or Federation background there, where we've had run-ins with the wrong side and we've ended up on this... The Alliance side?
You could maybe you have like, and it could be Empire or Federation, right? But yeah, like maybe you guys actually were born and grew up on, let's say, one of those other sides, and because of your dealings with them, you were captured or you ran away or whatever, and you ended up in the Alliance as your safe haven. Something like that. Yeah, that's totally a possibility if you like that idea.
Because I'm thinking the planet that I grew up on was independent, but then was annexed by the Empire, so that's where my freedom fighting comes from.
Yep.
The last one that I was thinking of doing was a useful skill, like a practical skill. Spidey's done the Doctor. I was thinking maybe I could be like a vehicle mechanic sort of person. That's my hobby, my interest outside of talking into microphones. Yeah, well, what is Vehicle Nut? Does that help with spaceships as well?
Vehicle Nut is very focused on like land vehicles. So it gives you a bump in repair, and repair can be used anywhere. But then it also gives you a bump to vehicle piloting and vehicle weapons, as opposed to spaceship, right? So it gives you a bump in the ground vehicle stuff.
And there's the engineer, which gives you I think it gives you a bigger boost or the same boost to repair. Oh no, it gives you 20 repair instead of 10.
Right, but it probably gives you less in some of the other stuff.
Yeah, you don't get like.
I think all of the skills, like if you look at all the skills, the one choice skills, they all give you 50 points in something, right? Like it distributes 50 points between skills. So it's just except for some that are special, but most of them, and then the 2 choices ones, you'll notice that I think they add up to 100 points. So you don't lose anything by picking them. They're more focused on something, right?
Yeah. So maybe I should be an engineer then, to have like a more general vehicle spaceship background.
I think. Do we have an engineer already or no?
I don't think so.
No? Okay, I remember somebody talking about it. I just didn't know if anybody took it. So no, if not, then there you go.
All right. Well, I guess
you can double up anyway. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, cyber computer, energy weapons, and repair.
Right.
Oh, I've got my 4 picked.
All right. So a Lave radio host, freedom fighter that tried to stop the Empire from taking his independent world, failed, went on the radio to voice his disgust throughout the Empire, was caught and evicted from his borderland homeworld, and he picked up engineering skills to make his living in the black.
Okay.
I don't know. I just mixed it up as I go.
That's how decisions are made.
All right. Oh, mirror. Empire.
What
So
happens? Has everyone
I'll
picked
give
their
you
four?
the. Yeah, does everybody have all four?
Yep.
That only took an hour.
All right. There you go. Yeah. Well, this is the biggest part of it. We're almost done actually once you pick these. So I'm going to start just because they're all listed in alphabetical order. So I will kind of so nobody took accountant, right?
No.
I'm gonna read out the name and somebody go hey if they have it. So accountant.
Right to the right page.
Borderland Homeworld.
Yeah.
I think that's yours, right?
Yeah, I've got that.
Okay, so Borderland Homeworld. So Boris, go to dodge and increase dodge by 10. Make it 20.
20. Okay, hang on. This is a bit difficult. There is a cat sat on my mouse pad, so I'm gonna have to work around that.
All right, then go to fighting.
Yep.
Increase that by 10, so it should be 20. Kinetic weapons is increased by 10. Repair is increased by 10, so that'll be down in your repair or vehicle. Yeah, repair is increased by 10. That gives you a 20 there. And your survival over in espionage at the bottom will be increased by 10.
Okay.
All right. Did somebody take anarchist? That sounded familiar.
I thought about it, but I didn't.
Yeah.
No? Okay. Born on the Streets. I think that was someone.
Yeah, I grabbed that one.
All right. So go to your stealth, which is in espionage, and increase that by 10.
Okay.
Go to your streetwise, which is in your social skills. Increase that one by 20. So it should be 30 at the end.
Wow. Okay.
Okay. And then in the enhancements box on the bottom right beside espionage there.
Yeah.
Write in tough.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah.
All right.
Nice.
And we'll come back to that in a minute. Nobody took army train. Nobody took boxer. Nobody took cheerleader, right?
Nope.
Which is funny because I think there was lots of talk of cheerleader at one point.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody took child actor, criminal family. Somebody had that, right?
Yep. I've got that.
Yep. All right. So in your social skills, go to bluff, increase that one by 10. So you should have a bluff of 20.
Yep.
Charm, increase that one by 10.
Yep.
Gambling, increase that one by 10.
All right.
Security under espionage. Increase that one by 10, and then also increase stealth by 10.
Stealth. All right.
All right. We didn't no community youth worker, right?
No.
No cyborg, computer game designer, docking bay operative, none of those. We do have an engineer. So the engineer,
that's me.
go to, that's you. Catman, and go to your cyber, which will be under intelligence. Cyber, increase that by 10. Computer, increase that by 10.
Yep.
Energy weapons under personal combat, increase that by 10. And then your repair, increase that by 20.
Okay, so I'm gonna be able to fix anything.
Yeah, you are very good at fixing things. Freedom fighter, is that you as well?
Yes.
All right, go to your dodge.
Dodge.
That will be dodge. Increase that by 10. Increase energy weapons by 10. Increase grenade by 10.
What happened?
Did you lose
my
him?
Camera's gone out. Maybe it just died. I'll fix that. I'll fix that in a minute. I've got a backup. So where was I up to? I just did energy weapon.
You
grenade.
did energy weapons, I think, right?
Yep.
So I think you're on grenade by 10. Then in espionage, increase your stealth by 10.
Sorry, I've done something. I increased kinetic weapons. That's wrong, right?
It should have been energy.
So my
But wait, did you do kinetic from something else? I don't remember. We might have to double check these.
Hang on, I'll be able to. There's a stream. It's a good thing we're recording it.
Nice.
You want to? Maybe Vix was paying attention because I wasn't. Oop.
Well, what? Just go backwards in the alphabet. What was your other skill that you've filled out already?
Other skill?
With your other background that you've already filled out, what was that?
Born in the streets or whatever.
Borderland Homeworld.
Yeah. So I did radio host, Borderland Homeworld, and then engineer.
So does any of that have
kinetic?
Didn't have kinetic.
Did Borderland
engineer did not have kinetic? Borderland did.
Yeah, it has 10 kinetic. So
kinetic weapons is fine.
I just think you didn't. It was grenade. I just think you didn't increase your grenade. Your energy weapons is still 30.
Yeah.
Okay,
I think you did your energy. Yes, your grenade. Yeah,
grenade
so increase grenade by 10.
Yep. Sorry.
Yeah, so it should be 20. No worries. There. Stealth under intelligence.
Intelligence, stealth by 10.
Oh, sorry, under espionage. Stealth by 10.
Yep.
And then vehicle piloting under vehicle skills. Vehicle piloting increased by 10.
Okay.
All right. So that's Freedom Fighter. We don't have an Explorer Corps. We don't have a Frontier Trader, right? We don't have a... Oh, everybody's got Fighter Pilot. Oh, no, wait. That's the wrong one. Everybody has Trained Pilot. So nobody had Fighter Pilot. Fuel Rat, we didn't have that. We don't have a Jeedmon Baby. We don't have a High Tech Homeworld. We don't have a Gym Freak. We don't have a Hoppy Casino Croupier. I don't even know how to say that. I don't know. Yeah. Croupier? What does that word even mean?
You know, the people at casinos that are like dealing the cards or moving the chips around.
Oh, okay. Do we have a hacker?
Yeah, it's me. I already did it.
That's you? You did yours? Okay. So that was computer security and enhancement, natural genius, and computer. Lave radio host. So I think we're on to your final one, Boris.
Okay.
Oh, except for the pilot. But so bluff in social skills, increase your bluff by 20.
20, yep.
Increase it by 20. So it should have be 30. Charm, increase your charm by 10.
Yep.
It's a good thing I can see yours. I hope everybody else is doing it right. And then increase your insight by 20. So your insight should be 30.
Oh, there, yep.
You almost did it again. That's awesome. All right, martial artist. We don't have one of those. Did we have a minor politician? Did somebody take that?
No. Yes.
Oh yeah, you did. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Apple. Okay, so Apple, increase your bargain by 10, which means make it 20.
Okay, thank you. That was quick maths on your part. Holy crap.
I know, right? Culture and law, increase that by 10. Increase it by 10.
Culture and law. Where's that?
Social, I think.
Yeah.
No, intelligence.
It's intelligence.
Intelligence. Yeah. And then diplomacy under social, increase that by 10.
Okie thanks.
And then under espionage, increase your perception by 10.
Okay.
And then
not
under
110. Jesus Christ. There we
go. And then your last one there is increase tactics under intelligence by 10.
Intelligence tactics. There we go.
All right.
Done.
So then we have mercenary. Does anybody have mercenary? We were talking about that one.
I do.
No?
I've already put it in.
You do? Oh, but you've done it? Okay, yeah. So you got dodge, fighting, heavy weapons, kinetic weapons, tactics, vehicle weapons, and tough. Do we have a monk? Anybody take monk?
I thought about it. I did.
No?
I was tempted as well,
right.
to be honest.
Mining engineer, Navy trained.
Monk.
We didn't have any of those. Yeah. Officer, nobody took officer, right? Nobody took police officer. Nobody took partner. Nobody took petty criminal. Did anybody take that? No, right?
No, it was just talked about.
No, yeah. And then private detective, nobody has that. All right. So all of you, we're on to pilot trained. So all of you go to your spaceship piloting under vehicle skills and increase that by 20.
Ooh. Spaceship.
Mm-hmm.
Go to spaceship weapons and increase that by 20. And then systems, increase that one by 10.
What does that add up to? Just out of interest? I know, but is that a 20?
Would it be 20 in your case?
Okay, yeah, just making sure.
Just checking. Okay, yeah, I'm still on the ball.
Just
all right, cool. We don't have a private detective. Run away from home. Nobody ran away from home. No. Secondhand space dealer. Secondhand space dealer. Is that somebody's?
Yes, that's mine.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So go to under your social skills. Increase your bargain by 20. So whatever it was, increase it by 20. Then you have planetary knowledge, which is under intelligence, I believe. Mm-hmm. Increase that by 10. in vehicle skills, increase your repair by 10. And then under social skills, I think it is, intelligence. And under intelligence, increase your trading by 10.
Trading there.
All right. No scientists, no secret agents. We have a scout leader, but you've already done that, right?
I trained it, or turned it up to train doctor.
Oh, right. You didn't take that one. Self-taught. We had a self-taught,
yes,
right?
Somebody had a self-taught.
Yep. Okay. So you actually get to pick. Actually, you know what? We'll do that one at the end because that one lets you pick 2 skills and increase it. So at the end, once we know what you've got, you can then take ones and bump them up.
All right.
And you also get to pick an enhancement, but we'll come back to it. So just remind me you haven't done your self-taught.
Okay.
Okay. And then do we have a ship hand? No?
No.
Okay. Trained doctor. We do have a trained doctor somewhere, right?
Yes,
I already did it.
Spot. Oh, you did it. Okay, so I gave you cyber, medicine, and science. We don't have a sports college. Oh, treasure hunter. Did somebody take treasure hunter?
Yes, I'm treasure hunter.
All right. So go to your personal combat.
Yes.
And fighting. Increase your fighting by 10.
Yep.
Increase your kinetic weapons by 10.
Yep.
Under vehicle skills, increase your navigation by 10. Under your intelligence,
wait.
increase. Oh,
I put it in the wrong one. All right. Yes.
Okay, navigation. Yeah. And under intelligence, increase your planetary knowledge by 10.
Planetary. Yep.
And then under vehicle skills, increase your vehicle piloting by 10.
All right.
All right. We don't have a stockbroker, a trucker, or a teacher, right? We don't have a university grad. We don't have a vehicle nut, but we do have a wise guy, right?
A wise guy. Yeah.
Wise guy. All right, Apple. Get ready for this.
Okay.
There's a bunch.
I'm ready. Oh,
all right.
God, is that okay?
Under personal combat.
Yep.
Increase your dodge by 10.
Boom.
Under your social skills, increase your gambling by 10.
Okay, boom.
Under your personal combat, increase your heavy weapons by 10.
Oh, hell yeah.
Increase your kinetic weapons by 10.
Hell.
Increase your medicine, which is under intelligence, by 10.
Oh, okay. Yep.
And then head back over to personal combat and increase your melee weapons by 10.
Yeah. Boom.
Then mosey on over to social skills.
Oh yeah.
And increase your streetwise by 20.
Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah, then take an about face.
Streetwise now.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Take an about face and head straight into intelligence and increase your tactics by 10.
But it's to my left. Why can't I just left face?
If you want to be that way, sure.
Tactics, you said, right?
Tactics by 10.
Yeah.
And then you can, drop down a level and go to vehicle skills and increase your vehicle weapons by 10.
Okay.
All right. So is that everybody's except for self-taught?
Yep.
Did we get all of them?
Seems so.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So let's go back and let's do your self-taught. So self-taught, if I can find it. I think I scrolled right past it because I can do alphabet. Self-taught. There it is. All right. So you get to actually just pick 2 different skills, any skills from all of those boxes. You can pick 2 of them and increase them by 10. So if you want, you can go ahead.
I'm going to increase perception.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good one.
No one's really perceptive.
Yeah, no one had any perception. Except
and you get another
Spidey
one.
might have, because we didn't go through them.
Yeah.
I don't think I did. No, I didn't. So.
That was such a perceptive
One of the most
group.
overused skills in the game.
Another thing that's useful. I might do a bit
Survival,
more
maybe?
combat. Oh. Because I've not got a lot in combat.
Hmm.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So within combat, you generally pick either like if you want to be good at kinetic or energy, right? You don't probably like. There's no need to get good at both of those.
Yeah.
So you can pick one of those two, or you can be more close combat with fighting and melee and parry, right? Those are kind of close combat things. And dodge is just generally useful for avoiding people shooting you.
Oh, that's a good idea, actually. Yeah, I'll add to dodge.
All right. All right, and then the last thing you actually get an enhancement. So there's a whole bunch of these here. So so awareness, this one's interesting. It says here, when rolling your initiative, you may use your perception bonus instead of your tactics. So if your perception is better than your tactics and you don't want to bother increasing it ever, and you just use your perception, then you can that will let you basically use that when you're like deciding. Remember how when we decide who goes first in combat, it's based on your initiative. So that's one that you could look at. Ambidextrous is one that lets you, so if you wanted to be able to shoot with 2 guns at the same time, it reduces the penalty. Confident basically removes your penalties to your social conversations when you're wearing gear or clothing that the world sees as unfashionable. But I don't know if you're the talker, so I don't know if that makes any sense to you.
Yeah, I do have charm and bluff and bargain.
Yeah, so that might be something you might be interested in. Hard to kill is basically it makes it like most people, when you hit 0 endurance, right, you fall over dead. But hard to kill basically means that you have to get to negative half your endurance before you're actually dead.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then there is quick runner, which lets you move faster. So instead of was it 5 squares, right, you can move 6 squares every round. Strong means that if you punch somebody in the face, you do more damage. And tough means you get a higher endurance, so you would be stronger. You would have more hit points. The other one, there is one called natural genius as well, which lets you increase your skill cap. But actually, I guess a question I should ask you guys is, if we go to, where is it here? What are the skill caps for level 1? Starting ships. Using skills, improving your character. Here we go. Does anybody have a skill that is higher than 40?
No.
Someone had 50, right? Yeah.
I got 50 in Streetwise, and I got 40 in weapons, vehicle weapons. But that's obviously
okay. So nobody has a So actually, so on the FYI, that will be capped at 40, right? You're not allowed to go above. So you lose 10 with the setup that you've done. So if you want, we can talk afterwards, Apple, if you want to switch that around. But right now, so just leave it at 50 for the moment. And if you want to switch it around, we can do that later. But yeah, you'll be limited to 50. The only reason I wanted to ask that was if you take the enhancement natural genius, you can put that in a skill, and that'll let you go to 50 right now as opposed to 40. Right? That's what that one does. But yeah, so does any of that seem like something you want there, Lyric?
So the hard to kill one sounded good, but then I can't remember what it was called, but like the charismatic one sounded good, but I'm also not sure because of the clothing thing. Like, how often am I gonna be wearing
gear that,
like, if you're walking around in like a bulletproof vest and like you go into like a sensitive diplomatic meeting, they're not going to be like, oh, this person's suspecting something's going to go bad because you're just that caught.
One of the ones that actually comes up a lot is so you know how there is hand comms and wrist comms?
Yeah.
If you're wearing a wrist comm, that actually gives you a negative social bonus.
Oh, okay.
So if you want to wear a wrist comm and not have a negative to your social, you could use confident, right? But if you don't have confident, then you don't want then you need a hand comm, which is obviously something you got to like pull out and use with a hand.
Yeah.
I did post, if you want to take a look, I did post the like all of the enhancements into the chat for you to look at.
Oh my goodness.
Oh wow.
You can pick one of those. Yeah, and then after that, we need to go through and pick your karma capabilities, which will probably take a little bit of time too. So we can probably do that one off camera later. And then we do the rounding it out stuff. So I think we can wrap up with like rounding it out and then just picking your spaceship, and then we'll do karma later, and then we can end the stream there if everybody's cool with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna go confident for my.
All right, cool. So yeah, in the enhancements box, just type in confident.
Nice. Oh, sorry.
There you go. So yeah, that is so that's that, and we'll do karma later. But rounding it out. So the way this works is you get to increase 10 skills. One skill. So the way I normally do this is see in the sheet. There is that little on the side. If you go to your skills.
Mm-hmm.
Up there, so that everybody can see, Boris. Yeah, so if you go up to there, you see that little checkbox column beside bonus.
Yeah.
So just so that we can keep track of what you're doing, basically what you're gonna do is you're gonna get to increase 10 skills. You get but you get a 10, a 9, an 8, a 7, a 6, blah blah, all the way down to 1, right? So you pick one skill that you increase by 10, you pick one skill that you increase by 9, one skill that you increase by 8, right? But you can't double up. So you can't say, I want to increase parry by 10 and then increase parry again by 9, right? So the way I normally do it is pick one, check it off, increase it by the number that you want, right? And then move on and pick the next one. So you get to pick 10 of them, going from increase by 10 all the way down to increase by 1. And then check them off as you go.
And does it go in bonus, or do you just add it?
Just add it to your score. Just at this point, we're just doing score. Yeah. So like, let's say you wanted, so on Boris's, for example, right? If Boris is like, I wanted my dodge to be increased by 10, so that you check off 10 and you increase your dodge score to 40, right?
Yep.
That was an example. You don't have to do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so go ahead and pick 10 different skills, 1 at 10, 1 at 9, 1 at 8, blah blah blah. Increase the score, and then tick it off so you know you've done it.
Is 40 still the maximum here?
40 is still the maximum. Yes.
Okay.
So you can't increase something above 40 at level 1 unless you have natural genius in that specific skill, and nobody has natural genius.
I have natural genius in computer.
Oh, you do? Oh, you're a natural genius in the computer. So are you going to try and get yours up to 50?
I got up to 40.
All right, cool.
Can I make things negative and then put them somewhere else? That's what I want to do.
No. No, you're not allowed to do that. That's awesome. Yes. So all of our intrepid players increase their skills. Let's everybody have a conversation.
Oh my.
Yes, good times.
I don't know what to do. There's too many choices.
Yeah, there's a lot. So I mean, looking at your stuff, Boris, because I can actually see that one on the stream. Like I see that you've got some decent social skills. So like you can bluff your way through a conversation. So I'll just like get a basic understanding of those, right? Like bargain is like trying to make deals with somebody, getting better price on things, right? Bluff is basically you want to get your way by lying to them, right? You want to convince them that something is true that isn't true. Charm is basically like making them more favorable to you as a person, and charm is one of those ones that actually normally, like if you charm somebody first and then you try and use diplomacy on them, or you try and use bluff on them, then you'll get like a bonus to your roll. So charm is one of those things. Diplomacy is trying to convince somebody to your way through reason and logic, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And then gambling obviously is your ability to play at dice, and I've actually made some. Excuse me. I made some custom dice games.
That was a good one.
I just burped. I've actually made some custom dice games that for this game that I take your gambling skill and stuff into consideration when you play, so you can use your gambling skill to try and basically cheat, right? And stuff like that. So if that ever comes up, if you guys want to play some dice games, like go do some gambling, win some money, I'm totally game for that, by the way. But yeah, so that's what gambling is. Insight is your ability to kind of like read people, like know if they're lying to you or not, right? And also kind of like read their emotions and that kind of stuff. You just change that skill to 8, Boris. You probably wanted to do that as 38, I think.
Yeah, it was on.
I think your insight was 30, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was 30. You almost totally nerfed yourself there. Intimidation. Oh, you did it again.
No, I undid just to make sure. Yeah.
Yeah, 30. So check that off too, so you know you've done it.
Yeah.
Intimidate is basically like threatening them, right? Like getting them to submit because they're intimidated by you. And streetwise is your ability to kind of like suss out, like say you went to a city and you're trying to find like the black markets or the underbelly of the city or the criminal element, right? Your streetwise is your ability to kind of like find those people and seek them out and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Or to notice that those types of people are following you and stuff like that, right? Obviously, computers is your ability to hack computers and deal with computers. Culture and law is your understanding of the world around you, like the laws and the way things work in society. So, like, you know if you're breaking the law or not, or if you know actually how to manipulate the system, right? Cyber, your ability to deal with robots and computers and drones and things of that nature. Medicine, health. Planetary knowledge is your understanding of like systems and all that kind of stuff, like space systems. Science, your understanding of like biology and chemistry and physics and all that kind of stuff. Tactics is how quick you are to assess the situation. So tactics is definitely used for initiative and all that kind of stuff, but it also I use it in game too for like let's say you're trying to very quickly kind of like assess a situation and know that you should take a certain route over another route within like actually I guess an example that we did in the actual game that we did where you dropped into the system, right, and it had somebody roll tactics, and if you rolled well enough you're like, oh wait, maybe we shouldn't go directly to that planet, we should probably take a roundabout route, right? Like that's the kind of knowledge that you might glean from tactics. And trading is your ability to know trade routes, know where to buy and sell stuff. It also is used in between adventures and things of that nature for making extra money. I don't know if how's everybody doing with their? Have everybody already finished all their the numbers?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all done.
Okay.
I'm holding people up. Yeah. No, I changed my mind. I'm trying to work out who I want to be through this.
Yeah. So
we can move on.
Basically, you can we'll save the check boxes, and you can see obviously because you get a 10 all the way down to a 1, right? So if you wanted to like flip these around a little bit between, as long as at the end, before we start the first session, that's cool. Just make sure that you only do it for one thing. It's pretty easy at this point, right? Because everything was a 10, so the only one that you wouldn't be sure of is the one you added 10 to, if you wanted to flip them around. But so that's what's called independent learning. The next thing that we will do then is calculate your score bonuses. So now go through and look at all of your scores, and basically your bonus is the first number on the 10. Right. So if it's a 30, your bonus is a 3. If it's a 16, your bonus is a 1. If you're a 19, it's a 1. If it's a 38, it's a 3. Right. So it's basically just the first number. You round down to the closest 10, and then you make that your bonus.
Does that mean that every time that I've been adding things, it doesn't really change anything? Like a 30 is the same as a 34?
Yeah.
It is, but the closer you are to a 40. So like as you play the game, so those checkboxes will be used throughout the game. So once we're all done this and you guys are happy with your character, then you will remove all those checkboxes and you'll save the sheet. And then during play, when you use a skill, you actually get a little checkbox against it. And then every once in a while, I'll say you guys can apply your ticks. And what that means is if you have a tick in something, then you increase that skill score by 1 and remove the tick, right? So slowly over time, you'll start to increase your abilities. So something that's at a 19, once you get one tick in it, right? And then you apply that tick, that's now at a 20. And now your bonus goes up, right? And every time you guys level up, like a full-on level up, going from like harmless to mostly harmless, you're going to get to do this again, where you get to apply like 10 different dice rolls to 10 different skills. So if you you could go over the 10s at that point, right? So that's kind of how that happens, right? So if that, I hope that makes sense. So that's your score bonuses. The last thing, so the last thing that we do here is determine your defense and your initiative. So at the top of your sheet, make your defense equal to your dodge. Oh wait, never mind. It's already calculated because I made it calculated. I did it for you guys. You're welcome.
What a legend. We love you, Anubis.
There you go. I did the work for you. Your karma is 10. So if you look at the big, not the big box, the little box at the top there, put in 10 for your karma, and then in your endurance, I think is a base. Where is it here? Is it a base 15? No, 20. Your endurance is 20. So put 20 in there, unless you were an enhancement of, I think it's tough, right? If you have the enhancement tough, then your endurance is actually 25.
Someone was tough.
Tough.
Was that you, Apple?
Yeah.
I've got tough, yeah.
And so does Lyric. And so, it's just you, Boris, that's at 20. Everybody else is at 25.
Oh, no.
Lyric's on 20.
No? I'm on 20.
Oh, shit, okay. All right. What enhancement did you... Oh, right, you didn't pick tough. You picked confident. Yeah. Right. All right. So that is your characters sorted out. You've got... the only thing we need to do with your characters now is pick your karma. We'll do that off camera. And then the last thing that you need to do is actually pick your starting spaceship and then get your starting gear. And that's listed. We can do that off camera. But basically you get the choice between like fighter, like if you want something fast and agile and shooty pew pew, or you can pick something that is more kind of like middle of the road, can do a little bit of everything, or you can pick something that is very focused on like trading, like lots of like storage space, right? So there's a bunch of starting ships that you can pick from. We'll go over those maybe off camera, and then and then you get your like all your starting gear. So like you get, like if you remember in the game, like you guys had like things like rem locks and mag boots, and like so you get all your starting gear. So there's a whole list of stuff like that we'll add to your sheet. You get a few. Some of you will get some choices based on your skills, right? So like I think if you have a grenade skill of 20 or better, you can start with a fragmentation grenade, right? But so stuff like that, right? But yeah, that is character creation.
Well, we
did it. You did it. All right. So yeah, I think we'll unless you guys want to keep going, but I think we've probably gone long enough.
Apple probably should sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am fully sleeping.
All right, no worries. All right, so there you go. You guys have your basic characters. One thing I will ask you to do before we end is if you go into your sheet, make sure you hit the save button.
Yeah.
Save your PDFs.
Yeah, I printed my PDF-age.
Yeah, make sure you save it, because I gave you guys a share to my Google Drive. So once you save it and then close the sheets, it should update to my drive, and then I'll have a copy of your sheets as well, and I'll have a backup of that. So if you guys lose it.
Where does it say save? I don't see an option to save.
It's only got an
save icon.
Yeah.
So I can't find a save either.
Oh, is there?
Are you editing in Google Drive?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, we downloaded it and edited it. So we will re-upload it.
Oh, then if you guys downloaded it and edited it, then make sure you override it in Google Drive. Yeah. If you're editing it straight out of Google Drive, then make sure you've saved it. And then I'll verify that we have it all. So anyhow, we don't need to do all that on stream. So we can, if you want, we can end the stream, and then we can do that final little. I just want to make sure before I lose you all that we actually have these sheets saved, because I don't want to have to go through this whole again.
I have a copy on my desktop just in case.
Yes, good idea. So thank you everybody for joining us in a little bit of character creation at the end, and then some campaign thinking about how you guys, what kind of gameplay you want to play. Any final words from everybody before we sign off?
Don't do drugs.
Don't do drugs. That's a good one.
Don't burn styrofoam.
do unless the drugs are cool, then do them.
Great.
Advice.
All right.
Everyone's
So
tired.
on that note, good night.
Lose my job for that one.
All right.
Okay.
Bye.
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 Bye.